For 160 million years, the dinosaurs ruled this world. While living in their shadows was a group of animals which couldn't have been more different. These were our ancestors, small furry creatures called mammals, clinging to safety wherever they could. But the mammals' time would come. 65 million years ago, volcanic activity started to poison the atmosphere. The last dinosaurs were already living on a sick planet when their nemesis arrived from space. A meteor 10 kilometers wide slammed into Earth to mark the end of the reign of dinosaurs. This series is about what happened next. The survivors of the extinction all had one thing in common: their size. Nearly every animal over 10 kilograms had been wiped out, leaving a world of little creatures. Among them were the mammals. In Walking with Beasts, you will witness how mammals left behind these small beginnings and took over the world. In the course of 20 million years, mammals got more and more successful until they were the biggest, fiercest, and most spectacular animals on the planet. Whatever the climate, whatever the habitat, mammals made it their own. Their great strength was their ability to adapt. They grew to gigantic sizes, and they even laid claim to the oceans. Our story of this epic time finishes just 30,000 years ago with the Ice Ages, when our planet turned cold and our ancestors hunted in the realm of the mammoth. It is a time called the Eocene, and Earth has healed itself from the ravages of the massive meteor strike. Much has changed since the time of the dinosaurs. It is far hotter now, and lush tropical rainforest has sprung up on every continent, from the Arctic to Antarctica. In this flowering new Eden, meteors no longer present as much of a threat. Under the forest canopy thrives a menagerie of weird and wonderful creatures. Here, the rule of scaly reptiles is a distant memory. The animals that dominate now are covered in feathers or fur. Mammals have adapted well to the new world, and there is a staggering variety of them, but they are still small, and as before, live under the shadow of bigger, deadlier animals. The dinosaurs might be long gone, but they left the world a vicious legacy. Their direct descendants are the birds. For the first and only time in its history, birds rule the earth. This is the story of just 24 hours in one part of the Eocene's mysterious global forest, in an area that will one day become Germany. It is dawn, and at the base of a fig tree, one animal has already had its first brush with death. And a common sight in the forests of 50 million years ago. Her kind have survived virtually unchanged since the time of the dinosaurs. Life, though, is scarcely any easier now. This is still a perilous world where she must live fast and will probably die young. She, however, has to feed, whatever the risk. She only has a short window of opportunity to do so, and that window is fading fast. At this time in Europe's history, Germany is at the center of much volcanic activity, and this whole patch of forest is riddled with geothermal springs. In places, these form seething mud pools. Boiling water, poisonous gas, and earthquakes are ever-present threats that the animals have learnt to live with. But not every hazard here is so easy to ignore. As the sun gets higher, the daylight creatures are becoming active, and that brings out the forest's more menacing side. The birds. They are the top predators in this weird forest. This is the largest, Gastornis, a half-ton pile of muscle and feathers as tall as a grown man. This is a female, and for the last 2 months her whole life has revolved around the one egg in her nest, now only hours from hatching. She is fiercely territorial, and when another Gastornis gets too close, she moves to protect her nest. Since the Great Extinction, birds have been a success like mammals, but what is more, they have got big. Big enough to take over the role of the predatory dinosaurs. The two giants clash. The small mammal escapes. There are echoes here of a bygone age. There is usually plenty of prey down by the lakeside, but this morning there is only trouble. There is a newcomer down by the lake. Stirring in the morning's early rays is an Ambulocectus, a bizarre beast that has swum up the river from the nearby coast. He is a predator. The 3-meter-long carnivore waddles awkwardly towards the lake. Although his ancestors hunted on land, Ambulocectus has evolved to be far more at home in the water. In fact, his descendants will take this to a greater extreme. You are looking at the very earliest form of whale. Ambulocectus, in fact, means walking whale. He is the most powerful predator in this lake. But he is far from safe here. There is a hidden peril. Huge quantities of volcanic gas are trapped in the lake bed. If enough of this gas were to escape at one time, it would suffocate the animals for miles around. The lake is a time bomb. Mid-afternoon, and the Propaleotherium are busy foraging for grapes from the forest floor. By modern standards, these primitive horses are tiny, but this is how horses started out, small, forest-dwelling animals. At this stage, they are not much bigger than cats, and have yet to even develop hooves, having instead 4 hoof-like toes. In a forest where every tree could hide a predator, the horses live on a knife edge, ready to spring at the slightest sound. As dusk approaches, the predators are still out in numbers. The Ambulocectus has yet to make a kill today and is preparing another ambush near the shore of the lake. Although he has no ears, he listens for approaching prey by putting his jaw to the ground and detecting vibrations. It is the same mechanism that allows him to hear underwater. If any animal strays too close, he'll be waiting. The Propaleotherium appear less alert than usual. Throughout the afternoon they have continued to eat the fermenting grapes off the ground. They contain only the smallest amount of alcohol, but it is enough to dull their usually sharp senses. This is a bad time to get careless. This is a world where birds eat horses. An earth tremor. These are common here, but this one is bigger than normal. The gas at the bottom of the lake is suddenly shaken free, releasing a deadly cloud of carbon dioxide. Driven by the wind, the gas sweeps through the forest undergrowth, suffocating every animal in its path. The day has come full circle. The poisonous cloud has cleared, leaving a trail of corpses. Tictidium, however, was lucky. She and her litter escaped death, only because their nest lay away from the path of the deadly gas. But her struggle to survive never stops. It's time to hunt again. Once more, the Ambulocectus is lying in her path, but she instinctively knows he is dead. Today is the survivor, but ironically, the future holds a different outcome for these mammals. She and her kind are destined to become extinct when this hot, wet world gets cooler and drier and the world's forests start to disappear. Ambulocectus is the one with the big future. He is the ancestor of the whales, the most magnificent dynasty of mammals, and mammals are about to take over the world. Next time, we move forward 15 million years to when the descendants of the Ambulocectus become the true masters of the oceans. On land, too, mammals shrug off their small beginnings to evolve into the largest and fiercest animals on the planet.